The Justin Robert Young podcast is brought to you, as always, by patreon.com/JuRY. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's a little experiment that we're doing this week. We're going to see whether or not it makes sense for us to do a shorter version of JuRY every single day. I just realized also that since I'm going to group all these into one podcast for the regular JuRY thing for the feed this week, that people are probably going to hear me explain this a couple times. So we'll keep it short. We got a lot to talk about. A conversation about death and reputation. We are going to unveil the psychopath capital of the United States, and we are going to hear about the worst girlfriend on the planet. We're going to hear about, you think you might have had shitty boyfriends. You think you might have had shitty girlfriends. This girlfriend was so shitty was this girlfriend that somebody was awarded $250,000 in damages for having such a shitty girlfriend. Happy Juneteenth. The Juneteenth episode of the JuRY Daily podcast. Oh, I don't know why I'm coughing. Here we go. This is where we start. We start on a sad note, but it's something that I absolutely had to talk about because not only is it top news, it's also from my neck of the woods. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know exactly how to say this name. Oh, here we go. XXXtension. XXXtension, also known as X. Also, it seems like it should be extension, but it's XXXtension, is dead. If you're unfamiliar with the young man's work, he was a rising star. What was kind of known as a SoundCloud rapper. SoundCloud, of course, the big music and audio uploading site. It is a clearinghouse for anybody who wants to be there. Here's the story from Deerfield Beach, Florida. Deputies were searching for suspects Tuesday afternoon after troubled rapper-singer XXXtension was fatally shot in the driver's seat of a luxury electric sports car. The 20-year-old rising star, who pronounced his name XXXtension, whose real name was Jashish Dwayne Onfroy, was pronounced dead Monday evening at a Fort Lauderdale area hospital. The Broward Sheriff's Office said he was shot earlier outside of a Deerfield Beach motorcycle dealership. X had been at Arriva Motorsports checking out inventory when he was approached by two armed suspects as he prepared to drive off in a black BMW i8 at about 4 p.m. Sheriff's Public Information Officer Kayla Concepcion said at least one of them fired. Both suspects fled the scene in a dark SUV. A sheriff's office statement described the shooting as an apparent robbery attempt. No immediate arrests were made. On Tuesday morning, workers continued building a 6-foot wall around the property of a newly built home where XXXtension lived in Parkland, a suburb of Fort Lauderdale. Hands up in the chat room if you remember the word association with Parkland. Parkland having a hell of a year in 2018. That is indeed where Marjorie Stoneman Douglas was and is. This is in the northwest area of Broward County. Essentially, Deerfield Beach is the city in the northeast of Broward County where, the ocean is, hence the beach. And Parkland is a very rich suburb that is effectively where Broward County meets the Everglades. Now, there's more to this story than just the tragic loss of life. X lived a troubled existence that included him beating his pregnant girlfriend and being arrested for it. This has kind of led to a larger discussion on how we discuss people who have done bad things once they've passed. And where the line is, really. If R. Kelly died, as we understand a little bit more fully, albeit a little bit late, some of the more horrific extensions of his life, how do we feel about him? How do we feel about what's his butt from Chinatown? Or The Shining. Not The Shining. No, that's whatever. The pervy director that fled the country, whose name I can't remember. That had to flee the country. Roman Polanski. How do we feel about Roman Polanski if he dies tomorrow? Now, those are people that had full careers. They lived out on a long enough timeline. What is interesting about this case is it's a very short timeline. He did not live very long. He died at 20. 20! But he did bad things. He was initially on the Spotify purge that R. Kelly was on, that they weren't going to put him on playlists anymore. And then he wound up getting put back on playlists. And today, Spotify is pushing him and pushing his music. A lot of the hip-hop community has come out in mourning of him. Kanye West tweeted, "Rest in peace. I never got to tell you how much you inspired me when we were here. Thank you for existing." Diplo posted a photo of the two together and said, "Thank you for inspiring me." Travis Barker tweeted, "I'm at a loss for words, speechless." J. Cole, "Rip X. Enormous talent and limitless potential and a strong desire to be a better person. God bless his family, friends, and fans." Here was the rap on him. His brief career was mired in controversy. In 2016, he was arrested on charges including home invasion for a 2015 incident, and less than a month later, he was jailed on charges that he attacked his girlfriend who was pregnant at the time. Later, he faced more charges, including witness tampering. Where are your guys' lines? I really do want to read emails about this tomorrow. Where do you think, how do you do this moral calculus? Because I was not necessarily a fan of X's music, not to say that I listened to much of it. But my immediate thought is a 20-year-old got murdered. That's sad. And in the milieu of social media, I see, well, look, don't glorify this abuser. Which I agree with. Probably shouldn't. But where do we show humanity for those that deny humanity? Or do we not? That's my question to you. Email me, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Put JuRY in the subject line. Let's talk. I don't know if this is funny. I don't know if this is going to be a bit of a change in pace, but we are going to start at the darkest, and we are going to slowly make our way up. We're going to slowly make our way to to less serious things. So here is a new report from ScienceAlert.com. Oh, boy. ScienceAlert.com, huh? Okay. We're doing this now. ScienceAlert.com is here to give you the science, and they are going to alert you to all of the science that is to be had. Guess which place is the psychopath capital of the United States, according to science, on ScienceAlert.com. This is an article by Peter Doctoral. It takes a particular kind of person to succeed in politics, but the psychological traits that make for leadership material could be more extreme than anyone ever realized. In a first-of-its-kind analysis ranking state-level estimates of psychopathy across the continental United States and the District of Columbia has found that Washington, D.C. harbors the highest concentration of psychopaths in the whole country. The study from economist Ryan Murphy at the Southern Methodist University builds off existing research that looked at how the big five personality traits are spread across the United States based on personality samples from about 1.6 million people. These traits, extroversion, neuroticism, agreeableness, conscientiousness, and openness to experience, are used by researchers to help explain the psychological motivations behind people's behavior. But some researchers think they also correspond to what make people psychopaths. So wait a minute. Hold on. So what you're telling me is extroversion, neuroticism, agreeableness, conscientiousness, and openness to experience make up a psychopath? Because I kind of feel like I'm a psychopath at that point. This is a horrible article. I didn't read this part. This is a terrible way to find this out. Oh my God, I'm a psychopath. Oh no. Does that mean I have to move to DC? According to Murphy and other researchers, these traits are already nested within the big five personality traits, which other researchers have already mapped in the United States. Get to the fucking good part. Jesus Christ. When Murphy crunched the numbers, he found that Connecticut was the most psychopathic state per capita, followed by California, New Jersey, and New York and Wyoming, which were equally tied for fourth place. On the other end of the table, the least five psychopathic states were West Virginia, Vermont, Tennessee, North Carolina, and New Mexico. The most psychopathic place, regionally speaking, was Washington, D.C. It resulted in the single most extreme data point of the entire study, with a standardized psychopathic score of 3.48, almost double Connecticut's 1.89. While Murphy notes that Washington, D.C. is a noisy and probably unreliable outlier in terms of the other data, since it's highly populated, notably different from many of the other states looked at, it nonetheless might just add up. Quote, the presence of psychopaths in the District of Columbia is consistent with a conjecture that psychopaths are likely to be effective in the political sphere. So I have a hard time dealing with this because, number one, mostly because this is something that I have said for a long time, that to be a state or a federal politician, you have to be a little bit of I've always said sociopath. I've never really said psychopath. I think that you have to have a weird kind of disassociation of your own actions and their relationship to specifically the people around you to be a federally elected politician, because doing that is a weird, fucked up thing that almost certainly mortgages your family's happiness and privacy for your own gain. But I also think that this is a bullshit study. So now what do I say? What do you say when a study that effectively bolsters something that you have blurted out at a million different bars and conversations and parties to seem smart and interesting now is backed up by science as reported by sciencealert.com and some dude at SMU, but you kind of doubt the study? All right, so we started with the death of a 20-year-old who was very controversial, and then we moved on to a concentration of psychopaths. Let's get to what is... This is the feel-good story. Holy shit, this is a dark show. Who would want to listen to this daily? Who would want to be like, oh, Justin. Oh, I like Justin because he's funny and silly, and he oftentimes brings up ridiculous slices of life for which we can all talk about. Oh, remember the JuRY show where he talked about the one apartment in New York that constantly sees gangbangs out of their window despite the fact that it's one of the most high-priced rents in the entire city? Oh, how we laughed. Oh, he wants high thoughts. Bring on the high thoughts, he said. Oh, well, guess what? Now you can get this little nugget of chuckling every day. 5 days a week he wants to spread it. Let me go ahead and tune in. Boop. Death. Psychos. Where is the limit of human empathy? Answer me. Answer me. Gmail. JustinRobertYoung at gmail.com. Put JuRY in the subject line. All right, here's the feel-good story. I'm not even going to read the headline. I'm literally just going to read this story. This is an NPR story by Camilla Domanowski. In the spring of 2014, Eric Abramovitz got the opportunity of a lifetime. He just didn't know it. Abramovitz was the victim of a deception that a Canadian judge called despicable as he granted Abramovitz $350,000 Canadian dollars, more than $250,000 US in damages. Abramovitz is a gifted Canadian clarinetist who received national attention when he was still in his teens. As a student at McGill University, he applied for a spot and a scholarship at the prestigious Colburn Conservatory in Los Angeles, where he would study under the famed clarinet teacher Yehuda Gilad. Only 2 spots open up per year, and they're seen as a launching pad for elite careers. Competition is fierce, and Abramovitz made it to the audition phase. But in March 2014, he saw an email in his inbox telling him that he'd been rejected. It was heartbreaking. He went through some really dark, sad, angry days, Abramovitz told BuzzFeed. His girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lee, another musician at McGill, consoled him. But Abramovitz's despair was born out of a lie. And Lee's comforting words were, in retrospect, really sick, he told the site. He had actually made it to the Colburn Conservatory. He never saw his acceptance email. However, because Lee got to it first and sabotaged him, apparently a Canadian judge concluded she didn't want him to move from Montreal to California. Imagine all the things that Abramovitz would have preferred. Imagine all the things that he would have preferred happened. He walked in and his best friend was banging his girlfriend. Oh, he walked in and his father was banging his girlfriend. He walked in and his whole family was banging his girlfriend. At least then it would have been the kind of poetic heartbreak that would have made it easier. easier for him to go from Montreal to California. But no. Here's what the judge described as having happened. Miss Lee accessed Mr. Abramovitz's email. She intercepted the acceptance email. She responded to it in Mr. Abramovitz's name, declining the offer because he would be elsewhere. Miss Lee then deleted the acceptance email. She then composed and sent an email to Mr. Abramovitz purporting to be from Mr. Gilad. Using an email address she apparently established herself, Gilad Huda09 at Gmail. In this fake email, Ms. Lee wrote that Mr. Abramovitz had not been accepted. Instead, Mr. Abramovitz was offered a position studying with Mr. Gilad at the University of Southern California with a scholarship of $5,000 a year. Annual tuition at USC is $51,000. Ms. Lee knew that Mr. Abramovitz's financial circumstances would not allow him to accept the fake offer. So here's how this motherfucker found out. This dude lives his life. Eventually breaks up with this girl. And then goes to California to audition for a less prestigious program that Gilad also taught at. I was in the second audition before Gilad, in which they had a brief and strange interaction, and Gilad said, "Why did you reject me?" It was a fair question, as Abramovitz put it. You didn't reject him. But having done nothing of the sort, Abramovitz asked in return, "Why did you reject me?" They could not sort it out then and there, but over time, the wonder lingered. Another student of Gilad's asked him about it. Eventually, Abramovitz forwarded the fake rejection email to Gilad, who responded, "I've never seen that in my life." Oh! My heart for this kid. That's when I knew that something underhanded was afoot, Abramovitz said. One day in 2015, he had a friend set about trying to gain access to the fake email account, and because Abramovitz and Lee once shared a computer, he knew one of her passwords, which he tried, and miraculously, it logged right in. The good news is that Abramovitz definitely wound up studying under Gilad, but he deserved every fucking penny. Oh, Jesus Christ. What a fucking heartbreak. So whenever you think that you have a bad ex-girlfriend, whenever you think that you have a bad ex-boyfriend, just imagine that you had the opportunity of a lifetime and then they gaslit you into believing that you'd been rejected from it. Let's go ahead and get to your emails. Matthew writes, I know that this segment is more than a month old, so I wouldn't expect you to read this email, but I thought you might enjoy knowing that Inagata Davida, a 17-minute, 5-second runtime, and Bitches Brew, 26-minute, 59-second runtime, are the same price as every other song on phone-connected jukeboxes. If you're just listening to this for the first time, we had a standing question of what the worst song to put on a jukebox for like a million times would be. I would almost say that those two, though, sort of defeat the point because they're almost too long. The point is to have just a hammer of the same annoying song over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And if it lasts a half hour, then literally it's just going to be like, I don't know, Bitches Brew is just kind of like a bunch of jazz. And the guy to defeat is just kind of a bunch of rock music. You know, it's not the same song over and over and over, which I think is kind of the point. Crunchy. Oh, one of the best. writes in, shit, wait. I don't know if this was supposed to be anonymous. She's got a story to tell. She asked if I wanted to hear the story. I said I wanted to hear the story. So Crunchy, write in and let me know if this is something that I can talk about. Otherwise, there's going to eventually be an anonymous thing. Might be Crunchy. Probably won't be. May or may not be. Here's the best email of the day, though. Sean writes, I was thinking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Where does porn exist? Is it our universe? Oh, actually, no, I can't talk about this. Crunchy talked about this in live. She let us know. This is a long-running thing with the JuRY show. Sounding has been achieved. If you don't know what sounding is, immediately go on over to the Google machine. Look up what sounding means. But she wants to know if we want an update. Yeah, we want an update. We want an update to know what happened with this sounding situation. Yes, you probably should go into incognito mode before you look up sounding. Free Ranger says, I'm not sure I want to know what sounding means. Oh. This is something that Crunchy's wanted to do for a while. She's achieved it. We're going to hear about it. Sean writes, I was thinking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Where does porn exist? Is it our universe or does it have its own? Can you actually order a pizza in the pornography cinematic universe? Is money relevant or can you trade services for goods? Sean brings up a very interesting thing here. All right. So let's say that all porn movies are interconnected narratively. And in these porn movies, what is different in this universe? Is there any money? I mean, I guess no, because people offer money. You know, there's money on the Bang Bus, right? Now, what would be different? I don't know. If you have any thoughts on the porn cinematic universe, I do like the idea that it's like, no, everybody, there is no money there. This is a totally barter system. You want a pizza? You fuck the pizza guy. You want a job? You fuck the boss. You want to fuck? Well, I guess you still fuck. I guess everything's fucking related. Fucking is the new language of the porn cinematic universe. If you would like to write in, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Do me a favor, put JuRY in the subject line. We're going to be right. We're going to be doing a lot more of these if we do this daily. So that means keep it coming. If you like this on YouTube, then go ahead and subscribe. And then also comment down below. Let me know. If you have any thoughts on these, I'll include YouTube comments in the back and forth. Also follow me on Twitter @JustinRYoung. But till tomorrow, this is your old pal Justin Robert Young suggesting that you please don't die.
What do you say we both just leave? Why is there more here left to see? I don't know.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.